Hello and welcome to my new lesson. My name is Rima Al-Jarf and I'm a professor of English and Translation. Today we're going to take a look at some words with two pronunciations. Now in English, there are words that have two pronunciations for different reasons. For example, in this table, we have two columns with two groups of words. In the first column, the words are nouns. In the second column, the words are verbs. Now, the word record, it's a noun, but when it's a verb, it's pronounced differently. So, the same word, if it has two parts of speech, whether one is a noun or an adjective, it has one pronunciation, and when it's a verb, it has another pronunciation. For example, record, expert, present, desert, subject, import, concord. So, stress is on the first syllable, and the second part of the word is very short, and it's unstressed, and it's lower than the first syllable. The first syllable is louder and it's stronger. Okay, when the same word is a verb, it has a different pronunciation. Record, export, present, desert, subject, import, concord. Okay, so stress here is on the second syllable, which is underlined, and the second syllable is louder and stronger, whereas the first syllable is weaker and it's also fast in pronunciation. Now I'm going to read them across as a noun and as a verb. Record, record, export, export, present, present, desert, desert, subject, subject, import, import, concord, concord. There are too many words like these, and each word has can be used as a noun and also as a verb, has two parts of speech. We will be looking at these again one more time when we take the lesson on stress, on word stress, later on in this series. Okay, I have more words that have two parts of speech that are verbs and either nouns or adjectives. When the word is a noun or an adjective, it's pronounced one way. There is no difference in pronouncing nouns and adjectives, but the difference is in pronouncing the verb. Okay, so here in the first column, increase. Second column, increase. So when it's a verb, the S is pronounced za. When it's a noun, the S is pronounced sa. Increase, increase. And this one, house with a Z and house with an S. Abuse, like the father is abusing his child. Or, and abuse as a noun. Close, please close the window. And close, it's an adjective. Close, it means near. Use as a verb, I'm using a laptop, and use. What is the use of so-and-so? Okay, we have words, for example, some verbs. And those verbs, they have two pronunciations. One pronunciation when the verb is present, and the other pronunciation when the verb is past, like lead and it has one pronunciation, lead, and here the noun is led. led, the meaning is different. To lead somebody to walk, and then the other person would walk behind. And led as a noun, it's a kind of metal. It's an element, a kind of metal. Okay, the word read, the verb read, has two pronunciations. One for read as when it's present, and the other one for read when it's past tense. Okay, I have more words that have two pronunciations. The word tear. Tear, when you tear a piece of paper and throw it away in the trash. And tear. Tear, she's crying, and her tears are falling down. The verb wind, like I'm winding my watch. And wind, the wind is blowing. Wound, past tense of wind. And wound, like I was chopping vegetables, I cut my hand, and I'm having a big wound in my hand. So wound is a noun. The meaning of the same word as a verb and as a noun may not necessarily be the same, like increase and increase, or house and house, or abuse and abuse. For example, close and close, they have two different meanings, but use and use, they have the same meaning, more or less. Tear and tear, wind and wind, wound and wound, they have completely different meanings. Live, I live in a small apartment, and live, like live music, two different meanings. Live music, this is an adjective. And to bow, when you bend, as a sign of respect to somebody. And bow, like bow and arrow. So bow is a noun and bow is the verb. Okay, we have words that are the same word is a noun, but the word has two different meanings. And when it means something, it has one pronunciation. When it means another thing, it has another pronunciation. For example, this one, bass, like sea bass. Sea bass is a kind of fish. But when it's used in music, we say bass, the bass. Although the spelling is the same, and in both cases, bass and bass, they are nouns. But the meaning is completely different. Okay, now I come to a table with words that end in 8. And here, same thing. The same word is either a noun or an adjective, and it has a verb. Same word, but it's a verb. It has two parts of speech, either verb and noun or verb and adjective. Okay, like graduate, like graduate student, and graduate when it's a verb. Separate is an adjective, and separate, it's a verb. Delegate, it's a noun, and delegate. Certificate and certificate. Okay, so here all the words end in 8. And when they are verbs, stress falls on the last syllable, on the 8th syllable. It is stronger, louder. And the first part is, the first 2 syllables are lower and weaker. Certificate has 4 syllables, and the stress syllable is the T. It's not the first one. Certificate and certificate. Okay, again, graduate, separate, delegate, certificate. But when they are verbs, graduate, separate, delegate, certificate. Okay, next, again, we have words that are verbs and nouns or adjectives at the same time. They have 2 parts of speech, but these words end with meant. Whether meant is original or it's a suffix. It doesn't matter. Development, for example. But development, the verb is develop. Okay. Now the first word is comment, segment, transport, influence, complement, implement, torment, lament. Now, when they are verbs, now transport does not end in meant, and influence does not end in meant. It's another one. I put them here by mistake. Okay, so the second column has verbs. So when they are verbs, we pronounce them like this, with stress on the last syllable. Comment, segment, transport, influence, complement, implement, torment, lament. Okay, I'm going to read them across. Comment, comment, segment, segment, transport, transport, influence, influence, complement, complement, implement, implement, torment, torment, lament, lament. Okay, now there are words that are pronounced differently, not because one word is a verb and the other one is a noun or adjective, because the word has two parts of speech. Sometimes we have two pronunciations because in American English the word is pronounced one way, and in British English the word is pronounced another way. We will be studying and taking a look at more of these words later on in future lessons. But for now, I'm going to give just a few examples. Okay, in American English, people say often, but in British English, often. In American English, words that end with "re", not every single word, but many of them, they would say secondary when it's a suffix. In British English, they say secondary. In American English, military, military. But when a word ends with "ory" and it's a suffix, prepare, preparatory, they say preparatory. In British English, preparatory. In American English, laboratory. In British English, laboratory. When a word, like a verb and has eyes, and then we add a tion to make it a noun, in American English they pronounce it organize, but organization. In British English, organize, but organization, organization. Words with like the vowels O, in American English they would say pot, but in British English, pot. Okay, I'm going to read them from the up, down, often, secondary, military, preparatory, laboratory, organization, and pot. In British English, often, secondary, military, preparatory, laboratory, organization, and pot. With this, I come to the end of today's lesson. I will see you in future lessons. Please subscribe to my channel and put a like and share the video so that as many students can learn how to pronounce words that have two pronunciations. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and goodbye.